What is going on, guys? We're back. Lapper Flips. We're back. That's a double we're back. I'm going to talk about some vintage today, but before I get going on that, if you like to talk hockey cards and you're on Discord, check out my Discord. I started up Lapper Hockey Card Community, LAPP3R30 Hockey Card Community. Hit me up below if you need a link, and I can hook you up with that. It's really great. Got lots of people talking about hockey cards. Just lots of good chat. If you're on Discord and you know what it is, then you sort of know how it works. But a great little community I'm trying to build there, so definitely hit me up and I can give you a link for that if you don't already have it. Also going to be using market movers today with the vintage. I've discovered a few things, but if you want to try out the tool that I use, if you haven't seen my videos, I use market movers a lot because I feel that it's super important. But if you want to get a discount and try it out for yourself, then that'll be in the notes below as well. You can check that out. There's an affiliate link there. And give the video a like. It's something I don't mention often enough, but it helps me out a lot. And I get so many good comments from people, and it helps me out. So hit that like button. But we're going to talk some vintage today. I haven't done a vintage episode, and I know that there's people who got to watch this who dig some vintage. So I actually found a couple of very interesting things while doing a little bit of research to make this vintage video. It may be some sort of indication in terms of the strength of the vintage market. I wouldn't say the hockey card market as a whole, but anyways, I'll cut it there. Let's get right into it. Okay, guys, let's get going on some vintage, shall we? Wayne Gretzky. If you want a PSA 10, that went for $3.75 million. That was back on June the 7th. So, if you don't want one of those, maybe you want a lower grade because you want to save your $3.75 million for something else. We'll take a look at the 9. You can get this for an inexpensive $200,000. So that's the last sale for a PSA 9. You get a PSA 8. I'll overlay a couple of these here. So a PSA 8 down at about $24,000, and then a 7 down at $7,000. We'll take off the 8. You had a PSA 6 for around $3,805. Now this is one of the things that I thought was a little bit interesting. This graph sort of shows it. If you remember, if you've watched my other videos, I've talked about the market cycle. And it's funny how Wayne Gretzky, a guy who's not even playing, still follows a similar cycle. So we're seeing an uptick towards leading into the season, and now we've seen prices come down. So people who say that, Wayne Gretzky can't get hurt, well, no, he can't. But he's still going to follow the general market cycle in terms of the overall macro hockey card market. So this was just a busy time. Is it going to be like this next year? I mean, we don't know, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And unless there's a lot of volume in the card, it's sort of hard to see this, but I think this illustrates the point pretty well. One of the other things that I thought was really interesting, we'll take a look here. So this is a great addition or tool or built-in function of market movers, is you can check out the for sale cards of the cards that you're looking at. So we're going to ignore here. This is the PSA 9. We'll take a look at the PSA 8. So the PSA 8 has one for sale, a listing at $23,499. I can simply click on it and see that this is for sale, and I can simply buy it now, or I can make an offer. So this is the Wayne Gretzky PSA 8. So we'll pull up the PSA 8 here, and the last sale of the Wayne Gretzky was $23,499. All right, and you can buy one right now for $23,499. If you like, I can just click buy it now and make this purchase. I'm not going to do that, but you could go ahead and do that. So what does that mean? Well, it means there's obviously some resistance at this price point. People obviously aren't speculating that Gretzky, a PSA 8, is worth more than that last sale price of the 24,000. So it puts a little bit of resistance there. So does that mean that the next sale is going to be below? I would think so. Anyone who's looking in this dollar range you know, the way that they're valuing the card obviously is underneath the last sale price. So you would likely expect to see the next sale below that. You can take a look here. So the same thing in the Wayne Gretzky PSA 7. This one is at $6,900, which is $82 below the last sale price. So if we take a look at the PSA 7, which is the green one here, so the last sale was at $7,000, and that was on June 28th. Okay, so not too long ago, about a week ago, and right now there's one sitting for that price. So the person who bought it a week ago, if you have a lot of faith in the card, then you know this you could look at this as an opportunity. But I would, you know, question whether this doesn't point to this market moving, or this card moving down. Because if it was going to go up, someone would scoop this up, right? And I understand there's, you know, collectors and PCers, but this would seem like somewhat of a reasonable price, but it's not being purchased. It is just sitting. And there's other examples of that as well. So this is a Gretzky. We'll take a look just so that I can sort of show you guys in case you want to see the price of some other cards. So we'll take a look at some lower end, somewhat, you know, reasonably affordable Gretzky cards. And, you know, so we have the PSA 5 last sale at $2,505, and a PSA 4 that sales up a bit at $2,200, which is interesting. I wonder if there's any PSA 4s. I don't know the answer to this, but I wonder if there's any PSA 4s sitting for sale. So here we go. Here's a PSA 4 sitting for sale. I can buy it now for $23.95. Remember, these are USD, guys. I know we're hockey and it's Canadian. So there's one sitting for $23.95, and the last sale was at $2,200. This next purple dot in theory can't go up. It can only go down because, well, you have an offer. You have in stocks, you know, you would call that an ask, and there's no bid for that price. So there's no one willing to pay that price at this point. So sort of interesting there. We're gonna move on to the next card. We'll take a look at Mario Lemieux here. So Mario Lemieux PSA 10, if you would like one of these, it will cost you about $46,000. I would argue it'll likely, oh, an eBay sale. That's always a good sound, right? It'll cost you $46,000. I would say less. We'll take a look at some of the perhaps more affordable. Again, here you see the exact same thing that we sort of talked about with at the start of the hockey season. You know, cards going up and then going down. And we're going to see the same thing if we look at the cards that are for sale. These are the PSA 10s, and then we will go to the PSA 9s. So slightly over asking here. We'll take a look at the PSA 8s here. So this one's listed about 6% higher than the previous sale, but you know, it gives you the thumbs up, a good buying opportunity. And here, so someone's asking a whole bunch for a PSA 7 Mario, which we don't have up, but a PSA 7 Mario is down here. But these graphs are also really good just to, you know, take a look at sometimes discrepancies between one grade versus another. If we look back to the Wayne Gretzky card, so if you can get a PSA 5 for almost the same price that a PSA 4 is selling at, well, you know, this could perhaps just the visualization allow you to spot those opportunities. Those are some Marios. What is this? The PSA 7. So if you want a PSA 7 Mario, $585 last sale. Pretty reasonable. And again, you know, $999 here. So they're, you know, marking it way up. That's the way that it goes. They're free to do that. You know, just a couple data points that we've looked at indicates that it's not going to sell at that price, but we will see. Patrick Waugh, my favorite player growing up. Take a look at his PSA 10, and that is up at about $8,800, a peak of $9,000. And we'll take a look at the PSA 9. PSA 9 way down, so there's a pretty significant drop off from $2,000 up to $9,000 between the 9 and the 10. Makes me think, you know, does that mean that the 9 is undervalued? the other thing that we can do is look at ratios. So if we take a look at the PSA 10 to the PSA 9, it's trading at about 4.5 times. 30-day average has no data, that's fine. About 4.5 times seems quite high, relatively speaking. If we're to compare the 9 to the 8, you know, you're at 3.4 times. We can compare the 8 to the 7. I have a card at PSA of Patrick Roy that should be coming back 1 year. We'll see. And I think that it's going to be either a PSA 7 or a PSA 6, but we'll take a look at the difference between a PSA 9 and 8. So it's only 1.45 times to get a 7 or an 8. So do you want to pay, you know, a 50% premium, a 45% premium to get an 8 versus 7? And if we look at the 6 to a 7, 1.29. So, you know, which do you want? Does it make more sense to buy a 7 instead of a 6? These are things that maybe market movers can help you to figure out, or any of the other data tools out there. So PSA 10, we got some PSA 10s for sale, you know, pretty reasonable asks on those. You're gonna expect asks to be above the last sale, you know, 25% there. Take a look at his, what is this, PSA 8, you know, 30% higher there. Here's one right here. So here's a PSA 7, which is 1.5% the last sale. Again, it's sitting. No one's buying it. $399, PSA 7. So we can just go ahead and click and buy it if we like, for $399, but no one's doing it. So, I mean, that definitely shows some resistance. I think that speaks to the general market coming down over the summer. I'm not sure that that's so much of a hot take, but remember, not everyone watches videos like this and is aware of the market cycle. I'm still selling hockey cards on eBay, so people are still buying, and they will be buying over the summer. You're just not going to have the volume that we had before. Next, let's take a look at Mark Messier. Mark Messier, I was a little bit surprised back here that a Mark Messier went for $24,500 for a PSA 10. I'm not sure why. It just, I don't know. I thought it was just more. It was definitely more than I would have guessed. That's your PSA 10. We can look at a PSA 9. So we'll take a look at this ratio. I think this is a bit interesting too. Again, 3.73 times. Do you want to pay 3.73 times a PSA 9 for a 10? Well, you would, but you wouldn't pay 3 times more for, let's say, PSA 8 to a PSA 9. You know, I think those ratios are obviously going to come down. The PSA 10 being the most desirable card sort of makes sense. We can take a look at what's going on here. So someone's asking for their PSA 10 2 times last sale. So from what we've seen, that card is never going to sell. Here's a couple here. So down 7% and down 7%. So we have more cards sitting that are under the previous sale. Okay, so again, just I thought going through this, again, I'm not a big vintage guy. I don't get enjoyment, you know, if I had this card in a slab on my shelf. I appreciate Mark Messier. I like watching that stuff, but I'm just not a vintage guy, but that doesn't mean that there can't be opportunities there. So certainly not a vintage card here, but I thought I would throw in the Jaromir Jagr 1990 OPG Premier PSA 10. So it had quite the ride. You know, you could get that for a couple $100 last year. And, you know, even still, if you bought it last year, you're still doing pretty well at the $400 mark. If you bought it when everyone else, you know, wanted it at this point here, you could be down, well, that's only down about 25%. So that's certainly not so bad. If you're in crypto, it's worse than that right now. I feel your pain, but that's okay. And his PSA 9 here, take a look at the ratio for this. It's slightly different. So 6 times for a PSA 10 to a PSA 9. So if you're a Jagr fan, I mean, I'd certainly be buying a PSA 9 of this card at about $60. And we'll take a look if what's going on here. if there are any cards sitting. I mean, again, I don't even really consider this a vintage card, but it doesn't look like there are. But yeah, again, you can see the market cycle I explained. Jaromir Jagr. I was gonna say he's not playing, but I'm sure that he's playing somewhere on the planet. Yeah, what a legend. But that's it, guys. So we had to look at the cycles. We had to look at, what looks like some definite resistance from the top of the last sales of these cards. One of the things I found interesting too was the Gretzky sale. I thought that could be a catalyst for, driving other prices. I thought, okay, here we go. We're going to see the Gretzky boom. That's not what we saw in the Gretzky cards. The sale was made on June June the 7th. So you can ignore these sales here, and sort of look that it came back to, I think, the point that it was sort of destined to go to in terms of supply and demand. But it sort of kiboshes my thought that PSA 10 sale could be a catalyst to drive Gretzky rookie prices up. But that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you learned something. Hit that like button, please. Follow me on Instagram, Lapper Flips. Hit up the Discord, all those things. Yeah. Peace.